Good morning. Today we are going to take your first set of real live science Cornell notes, and your topic is going to be the scientific method and claim. Your learning target for today is up on the board. It says, I can write an effective scientific claim. I will do this by identifying the variable in a given scenario, writing a scientific question and hypotheses that includes the manipulated and responding variables, and ensuring that my hypotheses is written in an if, then, because format. The scientific method is the experimental process scientists use to answer questions using evidence. This statement embodies what the scientific method actually is. It is a process. It is a standard that all scientists use to answer questions based on evidence. Evidence is usually gathered by experimentation. The steps to the scientific method are the claim, evidence, and reasoning. A scientific claim entails the variables, the scientific question, and the hypotheses. The scientific variables are the following: the manipulated variable, which is a variable that is changed; the responding variable, which is the variable that is measured; the controlled variable, which is the variable that stays the same; and the experimental controlled variable, which is the baseline comparison for your experiment. The scientific question becomes the focus of your investigation. It is the investigation's purpose, its plan. If there's no purpose, there's really no investigation. It holds the manipulated and the responding variables. It is based on fact and not opinion, and it can be answered using experimentation. These three key pieces must be in place before a scientific question is valid. It must have the manipulated and responding variables. It must have fact, not opinion, and it must be answered using experimentation. Here's an example of a scientific question. I'd like you to write this down in your notes. Remember, the scientific question includes the manipulated and the responding variables. If a sheep is given more food, that is your manipulated variable. Will it gain weight? That is your responding variable. Make sure you write this example down in your notes and that you have identified the manipulated and the responding variable. Now you try. Change the variables to write a new question. If a sheep is given, insert your own manipulated variable here, will it insert your own responding variable here? Write your own question in your notes right now. A hypothesis is a prediction or an educated guess. Just like the scientific question, it also holds the manipulated and the responding variables. It is written always in an if, then, because format. One key to understanding what a hypothesis is to recognize the similarities and the differences between a scientific question and a hypothesis. A scientific question is a question. If I do this, will this happen? A hypothesis is that scientific question written in statement form. If I do this, then this will happen because, with a logical explanation. Here's an example of that. Remember, the hypothesis includes the manipulated and the responding variable written in an if-then-because statement. If a sheep is given more food, that's your manipulated variable, then it will gain weight, responding variable, because more food provides more fat for its body to store. That's your reasonable explanation. Take a second and look at the similarities and the differences between a scientific question and a scientific hypothesis. Make sure you get this example written down in your notes. Now you try it. Change the manipulated variable, the responding variable, and the reasonable explanation to write your own hypotheses. Take a moment, do this in your notes now. Now take a moment to practice. Here is a scenario for you. Identify the variables, write a scientific question and hypotheses for this scenario. Jiffy thinks that feeding a dog super expensive organic food might make his dog poop less. If you need to, make sure that you refer to the notes you just took if you get stumped. Again, identify the variables, write a scientific question and a hypothesis for the following scenario. Now that we're done with your notes for today, I would like you to take a moment to reflect. Summarize your notes in the reflections box. What 3 key pieces of information did you learn today? And if you were to share only one piece of that information with another student, what would it be? Have a great day. Thanks for listening.